Right. I don't actually know if anyone's here. It's saying that there's no one watching, and if there is like people watching, comment over it, let me know you're here, cause the viewer thing on this is really bad. I did have like slight teething problems trying to get this to start. It always happens, it's a nightmare. This, try to do a live video on this laptop. It's just torture. So obviously if you've seen the title of this live stream, then you know what happened. I don't know if any of you guys have noticed that I haven't really been myself in previous videos, and that is because before Christmas time my gran became very unwell, and she had to go to hospital, and turns out she was really unwell, and basically she had this illness and she never told any of us about it. She kept this illness like hidden from us, so it was like a hidden illness, and she never went to the doctor. She like refused to go to the doctor, so like the doctors could have helped her, but because she never went, nothing got done. And then she got gout, and the home help basically neglected her. Like they weren't treating the gout properly, and instead of my gran pulling them up and trying to get in touch with the doctor, she just kind of let it happen. And then she got so ill that she had to go to the hospital. They had to take her in an ambulance. I was there that day when I seen her got taken away, and then she was kept in the hospital over Christmas, and she was in the hospital for a while, and it was strange because she was walking and talking normally like a couple of weeks ago, and then she was getting better, and then last week she just kind of took the turn for the worst. Like, because the home help neglected her, the gout kind of spread through her body, and because that happened, that weakened her immune system. Then she ended up getting COVID-19, and then because of the COVID-19, that led her to getting liver failure and basically the gout getting worse, and then she had liver failure. And then last week we got a phone call saying that this was the end for her. So my mum, my auntie and my uncle, basically my mum's siblings, had to go to the hospital, and they were there like every night, looking after her and basically waiting for her to die. And then on I think it was the Tuesday, I'm my brain's like totally messed up because of everything that's happened. I'm having like a hard time processing what's going on. So I'm going to say Tuesday, but actually, I actually couldn't tell you when everything happened. On Tuesday, Tuesday night, we got a phone call to say that my grandma died, and we couldn't even go to the hospital because the hospital's really far away. You need to get there by car, and because it was late at night, we couldn't get any buses or trains. My mum didn't have a car because I went to my friend's house because my friend was basically wanted to offer me support about my gran, and basically she asked me to come to her house so that she could basically like talk to me, offer me support, help me. And I was looking after Bailey. I'd been looking after Bailey for 4 days, or is it 5? I don't know. I can't think straight. It was about 4 or 5 days or whatever, and so basically I had to take Bailey with me because there's like no one else to look after him. If I can't look after him, there's no one else. Basically, so I took Bailey with me, and we've been talking for hours, and by the time like I'd noticed like what was going on, it was night time. This was on the Monday night, so it was like 9 o'clock at night and it was pitch black and it was freezing. So I asked my mum for a lift and she got the car and she picked me up, and it was on the way back home our tyre burst. And then when she was coming back home on the Monday night, the actual tyre came off the car and flew across the road. So my mum had to get her car taken to the garage, and basically the car was sitting in the garage, and they told us that the car wouldn't be ready to pick up till the Wednesday. So that's how we were at home when we got the news. So Wednesday, that would have been yesterday. I think today's Thursday anyway. I went to my uni introduction, and I'm now thinking that I shouldn't have went. Honestly, I don't know why I went. I just went. I was an absolute nervous wreck. And I'm an absolute nervous wreck today. Like, I keep fidgeting with my necklace. I can't think straight. I can't sit straight. I'm actually shaking, and I was crying for ages on Tuesday and today, and I just really can't think straight. Yesterday, my mum and all the family were at my gran's house. They were discussing like my gran's funeral, and the funeral hasn't happened yet. And my mum says that she basically went into my gran's house and my gran wasn't there, and that's kind of when the reality kind of hit her that my gran wasn't coming back. And because my gran stays in a council house, the council are going to be kind of going to put pressure on our family to like get rid of the house because they all want it for another tenant. That's just how the Stirling Council is. They're just awful. I hate the council. But anyway, the oh god, this was really hard to talk about. The count so that happened, and then they'll talk about the funeral, and then my mum asked me if I wanted to take a bit of the coffin, and then you know how each member of the family carries a bit of the coffin and lays it at the ground. I'm not really sure how it works, but they wanted me to do it, and I said no because I just don't feel comfortable doing that kind of thing. And they want my wee cousin to do it, and I don't want to do it because he's only a kid. He's just a teenager, and I think he's too young to do something like that. And I don't think it's right that he should be doing something like that. I think it's shocking that they expect that Baron to do something like that. I don't want him to do it because I feel like he's too young. I mean, he's only a teenager, and they're wanting him to lower his granny's coffin into the ground. And think to myself, is it not normally the children of the person that died, not the grandchildren? They're asking all the grandchildren to do it, and I'm just like, why can't you do it? You of children. It's meant to be you that are doing it. And I'm it's my auntie that suggested it, and I'm a wee bit, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a wee bit disgusted in her. Asking a teenage boy to do that. He's just a baby, and he shouldn't need to have that kind of pressure of doing that, because I know they will pressure him into doing that, and they're trying to pressure me into doing that even though I already said no. And I know that they're going to try and pressure us because it's just them, and I know what they're like, and I know what this family's like. And I can't believe my mum even asked me, and I can't believe they even considered Connor, my cousin, to do it. He's just a teenager, and he's just a kid. He's a child, and you want him to do that. I think it's quite sick. My auntie, she was the one that was saying all this, and I think she's a CUNT for suggesting that. And my mum's trying to guilt trip me into doing it. She's basically, what's the word? Gaslighting me into doing it. And I don't want to have told her that, but they don't care. My family just don't care about how I'm feeling. They're quite selfish that way. I've not really talked about my mum and videos and stuff. I don't really like talking about my personal life in videos. I try to keep my personal life and my life that gets posted online separate, because I just think it's so unhealthy. You get influencers like James Charles and Nikita Dragon, where they live their lives online, and you see that, and you see what they're doing, and it's so unhealthy. Not just that, it's extremely dangerous. James Charles had people coming into his house and stuff like that, and I just think it's your own fault because you live your life online. You post everything about yourself, like, online. Of course, fucking pictures of your house, the front of it, the street name, and all that. Of course, people are going to turn up to your house because people online, they get up. You get people that get obsessed with certain content creators, and if they find out where they live, of course they're going to turn up to your house. That is what's going to happen. Oh, I've got a bit of a cold, so if I sound weird, that's why. But another reason why I don't really want, like, to do the coughing thing is me and my gran didn't really have a good relationship. Like, I'm going to be talking about personal, like, childhood stuff, so I'm kind of like opening my soul to you guys. Oh god, I could cry. But when I was a wee lassie, me and my gran didn't really get on. Like, my gran was quite abusive. Like, when I was younger, she was in the walking sticks, and she used to, like, hit me with her walking sticks, and she was basically verbally abusive as well. She used to, like, steal stuff off me, and she used to, like, make up stories about me and, like, tell my mum, and then my mum would always take her side, and it wasn't till I was, like, older, like an adult, that my mum actually realised about how much of a liar my gran is, because my gran wasn't taking her tablets, and she was telling my mum a different story, and then my auntie a different story, and then my auntie told my mum was talking to my auntie, and then they both figured out, like, that both stories were different, and then they were, like, figuring out that everything was, like, lies. And I said to my mum, I've been telling you for years about her lies. Like, she used to make up stories and cause dramas and stories and spread lies and that about me when I was a kid. And I told you this, but you didn't listen. For years and years, I've been trying to tell you what she was like, and none of you listened. It took you 20 years to figure out the truth. It's just a shame that it took them so long to figure out. But yeah, when I was slightly older, she had to go in a wheelchair because her legs weren't working as much. So then it was just basically verbal abuse after that. But it was still, like, really horrible, and it got to the point where I had to stop visiting her for the sake of my mental health, because I just couldn't cope anymore. Sorry, I've got a cold. with the way that she was speaking to me and all the verbal abuse and stuff. So I basically had to stop visiting her, and then I never went down 1 week, and then she told everyone that I'd disowned her, and then all my family were, like, talking about me and slagging me off and making a fool of me, and then after that I just couldn't cope, so I never bothered to visit her ever again. And her death is it's created, like, mixed feelings for me, because I am sad, don't get me wrong, I'm sad, but at the same time, I never really had a connection with my granny anyway. Like, we never had a bond, like a normal, like, granddaughter and granny bond, just because she was so horrible. I do feel kind of numb, and I'm a total nervous wreck. I don't know if you can, like, hear it in my voice, but I'm a total nervous wreck. And then at the same time, I'm kind of relieved that she isn't suffering anymore, but also I'm relieved that I don't need to put up with her nasty abusiveness anymore. So it's kind of like a mix of emotions. Like, honestly, I don't really know how I'm feeling. It's a different mixture of things. But I think I've been, like, mentally preparing for her death for a long, long time, because you know, I'm a I'm a psychic medium and stuff, and I've just had this really, really gut feeling for a really long time that my gran was dying and she didn't have long left. And that's a feeling that I've just had for a really, really long time. So I've been, like, mentally preparing myself for her death for a long, long time, just because I kind of knew it was happening. And another reason why I kind of knew it was happening is because she didn't look after herself. Like, she didn't look after her health. Like, she didn't take all her tablets that she was meant to take, and she wasn't eating or drinking. She sat and drank, must have drank about 20 cups of tea a day, and the doctor was telling her to stop drinking the tea, 20 cups of tea a day, and the doctor was telling her to stop drinking the tea, but she still kept drinking the tea even though the doctor told her not to because it was damaging her health. And the doctor was telling her to drink more water, and she wouldn't listen. She thought she knew better, stubborn old git that she was. She was a stubborn old git. And, oh God, she, oh God, she wasn't eating properly. She wouldn't eat a meal, but she'd eat like a whole box of chocolates kind of thing. Like, one time I came into her house and she was drinking, like, no, she was eating like a whole, like, one of those big round tubs of celebrations. She was, like, eating one of them, and I was eating my salad and for my lunch, and she actually sat and ate, like, that whole big box worth of celebrations. It was like, quite mental. And I kept telling her to eat something, and she wouldn't. Like, she never listened to anybody. She thought she knew better. And in the end, it kind of led to her being dead. I don't really know what I'm going to do now. We'll wait and see what happens after the funeral. I don't know when the funeral is. Haven't heard anything yet. My mum's going to my granny's today to have a talk with the undertakers, and they're gonna, like, arrange, like, the funeral and everything. I've told my mum I'm not doing the coffin thing, although knowing my family, they'll make a mountain out of a molehill, they always do. And they'll always try to pressure me into things. Like, I feel like my family's like always try to pressure me into things. And I'm not doing it anymore. Like, I need to think about my mental health and put my mental health first, because for years my family have been putting my mental health at risk. And it's not just pressing me into things, there's a big long list of things like they've been doing. Like, my family have always been very physically and verbally abusive towards me. Like, oh my gosh, sorry, my sinuses are really sore. Like, always saying things like, oh, you need to know what you're doing with life. Oh, you don't know what you're doing. Oh, you're bad at this, you're bad at that. Like, the voice of doubt just going in my ear, like, no. Call me stupid, call me fat, call me ugly, hit me, punch me. And there was family members that knew about the abuse and didn't do anything, and they just let it happen. So, like, enablers. And when my granddad died, it was horrible, because it was like I was having to sit in that house in a room full of like my abusers and my enablers, and it was just awful. Like, my family kept pressing me to go down to my gran's house every day, and we'd like organise the funeral. And then, like, when those days that we didn't need to do anything for like the organisation, we'd all just like sit there in silence, and it was just awful. And then my mum made me stay overnight with my gran, and my gran was just really horrible like the whole entire time. So I'm not doing it again. Like, I cannot go through that again. I feel like my mental health was so fucked up with it all, like, after that had happened, that I just could not go through with that again. So I'm not doing it. I'm not going to the house. I'm just going to stay at home, because I do not want to go through that awful experience that they put me through after my granddad died. And I've got this really negative mindset now that I will not be successful, because that is what my family have drilled into me. But I need to stop it. I need to tell myself I can do things instead of I can't. Like, I'm not my family. I'm not like them. I'm going to be successful someday, but it's this negative mindset. I need to get out of it, because my mental health's like totally so bad because of them. Like, they've really negatively impacted my mental health because of just how badly my family have treated me. Like, so I don't know, I want to go to counselling, but I can't afford that. I want to speak to someone at my uni about counselling, but I wouldn't really know like who to speak to. I'd need to get in contact with the mental health team, and I just think it would be a nightmare. Don't really know like what to do. Oh Christ. I'm gonna get myself a glass of water and take a wee 5-minute break, because I need it. Forward. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. If I type that on Google, what's that going to come up with? Oh god, is that like a link to like a computer site virus or something? Oh, my nerves are totally fucked. Oh, Jesus. Void means the equipment has failed and they need to be repaired by maintenance. What's that got to do with my gran dying? Are you saying that I need to be repaired and need maintenance? Thanks. What, does my mental health need to be repaired by a counsellor? Is that like code name for something? Oh Jesus, I'm not even going to respond to that. Anyway. Oh, are you talking about the technical teething problems? Sorry, my mind's a bit fucked with everything that's going on. Yeah, I've fixed it now. It's I had this like thing for like, God, what you call it? Like, I did the reaction videos, and it was like a thing that showed like the quiz I was doing, and then me, and sometimes when I'm going on the live stream, it automatically sets to that and not the webcam. And then when you go live, it just comes up with this mad wee symbol. And then I'm like sitting there for like 10-15 minutes trying to figure out what the hell's going on. I think I need to be a bit more observant when it comes to that. But it happens all the time. Every time I go to do a live stream, it does it. It's actual torture. Anyway, I'm going to get myself a drink because I need it, and then maybe do the toilet, and then I'll come back and you guys can like discuss something. I'll maybe give you guys a topic to discuss. What's a good thing to talk about while I'm away? Something not too grim. There you go, you guys can discuss that, and I'll go to the toilet, get a drink. Oh, hell. I'm just really good. Right, I'm back. So, yeah, you probably heard my mum shouting at Bailey. She takes a lot of her narcissism and channels it on that wee puppy. I feel bad for him because all she does is shout at him. And it's a wee shame because she doesn't understand what's going on. He just sees a big angry mama screaming and shouting at him. Poor wee doggy. So this is my glass of water. It says Voodoo Juice, 1000% volume. TBTB's guaranteed. And then you've got this like red thing, which is like red and outside with like liquid, and the three bats inside that like move around with the liquid. I'm not gonna move it around too much because I've still got water in the cup and that'll spill everywhere. But yeah, that I got that from B&M a couple of Halloweens ago. I don't know how many Halloweens ago exactly. Just know that before I started doing YouTube, which in that case is quite old because I've been doing YouTube for a couple of years now. So yeah, we were talking about what do we think happens after death. Yeah, interesting discussion. Well, cause I'm spiritual, what I think happens is I believe in reincarnation. So I believe that when we die, we go through this process called the veil, where the soul leaves the body and then incarnates into another body of its choosing. And then spirits or ghosts are people that get stuck, and because they have unfinished business on earth and then end up wandering on earth. And then as a psychic medium, my job is to send these spirits towards the light or heaven, or at least their version of heaven. Is there a heaven or a hell? I do not know the answer to that. But I do know that there is an afterlife and people do have past lives, because I do have memories of past lives from they're mine, but they're not mine. you can like unlock your past memories, like they're deep, like in the subconscious. Like you need to do like past life regression in order to remember your past lives. But yeah, everything's really difficult right now. Like I've got a number of very stressful hi sister 19 LOL situations going on, like along with my gran dying. I've got this girl who's been basically harassing me at uni. So I don't know what her problem is, and last trimester I met her in a class, and this was like the first time that I'd met her, and I was talking to my friend and we were talking about Bailey, and then she just kind of interrupted like our conversation, and I had no idea who she was at the time, and it was basically like me and my friend like talking, and then like some random stranger like walking up to us in the street and then like interrupting our conversation. That's kind of what it was. And I just remembered she was really rude, and I remember turning and saying to her, excuse me, who are you? And then I remember just her being really rude, and then I remember just walking away from her. And then I remember in the classroom, like she sat behind me, and then I could feel like her eyes digging like into the back of my skull, and I turned around and she was like giving me the daggers, and she's just been really horrible. Like she never turned up to class like the week after that, but the week after that, I was walking to the toilet, and she was walking past, and she said a comment, and it was like, I can't remember, it sounded a bit like hi cutie or hi creepy, probably more like hi creepy, but just remember thinking she was really horrible. And then the week after that, the lecturer was explaining something, and I didn't like understand what she was explaining. So I asked a question, and then the lecturer was like really rude, and then this girl like started laughing, and then I remember telling my friends, like confiding in my friends about her, and they all just told me to ignore her. So I did, and one day I was going to the toilet, and yeah, a lot of these situations even happen when I need the toilet. So because I've got a very small bladder and I tend to need the toilet a lot, that kind of runs in the family. But yeah, I went to the toilet, and then she was coming my way, so I kind of just looked away, and then she kind of looked at me, and then she went, "What, can you no look at me? And then I remember thinking to myself, well, what do you want to do? Do you want me to stare at you like that and go, hiya? No, you wouldn't. That would make anyone feel uncomfortable. Certainly make me feel uncomfortable. And then she just kind of walked away and went, whatever. And then, like, stormed off. And then there was one time when I was in the classroom and she was giving me the evils. So then I gave her the evils back. And then she, like, stormed out of the class. And then there was another time where I was in the classroom with just me and her, and it was, like, really horrible. And then one week I was on my way home, and then she came up to me and she was asking me, like, how I was getting home. She asked if I drived, and I thought she was asking for a lift. And I was like, you cheeky bitch. Like, asking me for a lift after the way you've been treating me. And then she asked if I was going this certain route, and I said, no, I need to go to such and such a route to get home. And then she kind of just walked away, and I thought that was weird, like, all things considering. And then last week when we were starting college, like uni, we had, like, our introduction class, and it was like we had to go to this, like, diversity thing, and basically it was talking about diversity, inclusion, and something else. I can't quite remember. My mind just shambles right now. But we had to go to this diversity thing, and I can't really remember what it was that was in that class. Like, I have no memory of that class. I just remember that this girl asked a question about the diversity, and whenever we've got, like, online classes, like, she's always asking, like, questions and stuff, and I suppose there's nothing wrong with that.
What are you doing here?
Why? See what I mean about family harassment? Yeah, so a lot of my friends think she's weird, and they've told me that they don't like her, and she does, like, intimidate me, this girl, because she's just been harassing me for quite a while now. And I just don't really know what to do. And then I'm just like, why does she want to speak to the mad diversity and inclusion guy? Like, is she gonna, like, tell the guy that we've all been, like, doing something bad? Because, like, I've not done anything wrong, and, like, especially with all this stuff with my gran going on, like, I can't cope with that and that. Like, what if she's, like, gone to the people at the uni and told them that I'm being, like, nasty to her, and, like, I get, like, an email or someone pull me up in uni? Like, I'm really worried about that. Like, super worried. Like, I don't know if I could, like, cope with that. So yeah, I've also been having some issues with Bailey, like his behaviour was getting really bad. Like on, was it Monday? I was out with him and my cousin, and he was so badly behaved. He kept tugging and pulling on the lead, running. He kept trying to run away. He kept stopping, and then I was trying to get him to walk, and he wouldn't walk. And then he just was so badly behaved. And we were sitting outside a cafe trying to eat our lunch, and then Bailey was sitting, and I had to put the lead on the table, and then he like just ran away and sent the table flying. And I was trying to give him like his water and his food, and the water spilled everywhere. And I was just thinking to myself, I just want to go home. I don't even want to be here. And I remember the waitress kept harassing us, like trying to get our food order. I was like, I don't know. And then my cousin was like, I thought you did know. I was like, no. I said I have some idea of what I want. I'm trying to give my dog his water and his kibble. I was like, you can clearly see that I'm busy. And then she kept coming over to us, and I was ready to crack up because she just kept coming and annoying me. And I said to my cousin, I actually don't think I'm going to order any food. I think I might actually just leave because I've had enough. Between his behaviour, that waitress, and you, and I just couldn't cope. And eventually I was able to sort everything out, and we got something to eat. But after that, I just wanted to go home because I just was so stressed by this point. Like, you can't take Bailey anywhere because he is really badly behaved. Like, he's so disobedient, and I didn't realise how disobedient he was until, like, a few days ago. But he is an absolute nightmare. I'm so thirsty. I've got a cold and it's drying my throat so much. Yeah, it's just life has been absolute torture at the moment. I actually dread waking up some mornings because of everything going on. And then my cat dying doesn't help. Not just health, don't do a live video while mum's in the house. Christ, that was embarrassing. And yeah, my mum, she's quite difficult. She's a bit of a narcissist, and everything has to be done her way. Like, she's not happy about me doing YouTube, and even though I've told her that I'm still going to do it, I don't really care about her opinion anymore because of all the negative stuff that she's like try put in my brain. And now I'm going to need serious, and I'm going to need, and I need, not going to need, I need serious fucking therapy because they had no abusive bullshit. Yeah, that's just what I need to come up with. I don't have any privacy whatsoever. Any privacy whatsoever. Any. Oh, fucking hell. God. I've got a really bad cold. So bad. Oh yeah, I've been having some spirit-related issues. So I have a guide, or at least she claims to be a spirit guide. I don't really believe she is, just because of her behaviour. She's a little creepy. She basically follows me everywhere I go, and she'll sit and stare at me constantly. And it's like, imagine a ghost woman with long black hair, pure white skin, doesn't wear any shoes, and wears a long black dress, staring at you all the time. It would really drive you insane. That's kind of like the downside of being like me. If you've watched some of my older content, you'll know that I'm a psychic medium, and I have talked about it on my channel. But she's been practically stalking me and Bailey all the way around the house, and I tried talking to her, but she doesn't listen to what I say. So it got to the point where I had to write to Jehute, that's one of the deities that I work with, and I had to get him to deal with it because she doesn't listen to me. So I did write a letter to her, and she seems to be listening to him, which I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for Jehute for talking to her and getting her to take a step back, because I've only just kind of started working with him. I kind of work with Anubis more. For all you guys that don't know, I am a Wiccan. I do practice witchcraft, and I work with deities. I haven't really talked about the relationship that I have with my deities, but I work with 3 different deities. Anubis, who, if you don't know who Anubis is, he's the Egyptian god of the underworld. He's got a kind of I want to say either a jackal or a dog's head, like a Doberman. A Doberman's the correct breed. And then a Doberman's head, and then a man's body, and he's spirits to the underworld. And then the other deity I work with is Jehute. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I don't think he'd be very happy. But it's a great name for Jehute is Fourth. That's easier to pronounce. Although he doesn't mind me calling him Fourth, I know he prefers the name Jehute, but I can't pronounce that. Well, I struggle to pronounce it. And then Shiva is another deity that I work with. He's the god of destruction, destroying toxicity. He wanted to work with me because of my toxic family. And I think one of the reasons why I'm being so cold and harsh right now towards my family is partly his influence, but my family are very toxic, and now that I'm older, I don't want to put up with their nonsense anymore, and I shouldn't have to put up with their nonsense anymore. I reckon after my gran's funeral, I'm going to be cutting ties with a lot of them because they're just extremely toxic, and they're having a very negative effect on my mental health. And my mental health needs to come first before their selfish desires, because believe me, what they want from me is their own selfish desires. Like, they don't care about me, they don't care about what I want, they never have. Whatever they want, expect of me is from a place of toxicity, selfishness, and their own selfish desires. So I'm not doing it anymore. After the funeral, I've got a long list of family members that I'm going to disown because I need to think about my mental health, and I need to put my mental health first. I don't know if any of you guys watching have got like extremely toxic family members or toxic people in your life that you've had to cut out or disown. Maybe it's been friends or people in your work life that you've like had to cut out. But for me, it's my family, and I shouldn't have to put up with toxic people in my life just because they're my family. Family or not, like, you need to do what's best for you and your mental health. So I reckon after my grand's funeral, there's going to be a lot of people cut out. I try to start. I wrote in my letter though that if he does that to me, then I will not be working with him anymore. And I was quite clear about that. But I've worked with Anubis for a while now, and I do trust Anubis like 100%. And I suppose the letter was a bit of a test as well to see if I could trust Foth, and he has kind of, he's not sent her away, the guide, but I've noticed she has backed off a bit. So that is, I'm happy about that. So I think I can trust Foth. I do trust them, and I trust Anubis 100%. I trust Foth about 70-80%. I'm going to have to like work with him a bit longer to gain like his 100% trust. But Anubis is someone that I trust 100%, and I just hope he trusts me as much. But it's weird, the connection I have with Anubis, it's a kind of like daughter dad connection. Like, I feel like he's my father, and I know he's not my father, but it feels like that. And I feel like I knew him like in a past life. I did have a past life on Cyrus, which is like the star where Anubis comes from, and I had a past in ancient Egypt where I was a magician and I practiced a occult, which is much different. I mean, now I'm a magician, I do practice a occult now, so not much has changed since then. But yeah, I feel so maybe I had a connection to them in that life, and maybe that's why they came forth to me on this life. And I feel like I knew Anubis personally, somehow when I had my past life in Cyrus, I'm very spiritual, so if that's not your cup of tea and I'm just talking mumbo jumbo to use, then fair enough. But that's just my belief system. We all have like our belief system and stuff. If anyone's spiritual or anything, then you'll probably understand what I'm talking about. But to everyone else, I'm just sitting like a nut, I'm mumbling on and on. But I'm not a nut, and I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Oh God, fucking cough. But yeah, I feel like I definitely knew him like in a past life, like somehow. And I have that feeling with fourth as well, like that I knew him somehow in a past life, and I don't really know how, but it's just a feeling that I have. But yeah, I know that I can like trust them, and it's good to have that connection with deities, because if you're working with a deity, you want to be able to have like a strong connection, like what I feel like I've got with Anubis, because and then you can like rely on them and work with them and be comfortable with them. Like I have my biological dad who, let's be honest, was a failure of a father. He like kind of failed as his responsibilities as a father. Like he left me and my mum when I was 9 months old, and when I was a child, I used to see him like all the time, and then all suddenly when I was like 9, he like met another woman, and everything kind of changed after that. The last time I seen my family in London with him, I was about 8. Then when I was 9, he met this other woman, and then he fell out with all his family. So I never got to see him again, like that family from London. I never got to see them. And I went on holiday with him and his girlfriend at the time, and she was always really horrible and mean to me, like really abusive, like as well, and like she'd steal like my money and that off me, so I'd like have to hide it somewhere that she like couldn't find it and stuff like that. And then one time we went on holiday when I was like 11, and I just said to my dad after that, like, I don't want to put up with her rubbish anymore. And I said, Dad, if you want to see me, it'll need to be without her, because I don't want her in my life anymore. And basically he said no, he wasn't willing to negotiate or anything. So he's basically took nothing to do with me since I was 11. And when I was 16, I got a card from him in the mail, and I nearly fainted. Then when I was 18, I got another card and it had his phone number written on it. But that basically went in a drawer for 2 years, because it took me like 2 years to like figure out what to do with it. And eventually I phoned the number, and we were texting and stuff. And then he asked me what I wanted for my 21st. And I said to him, Dad, honestly, I don't really want anything from you. And I said to him, I'm 21, use your imagination. And then, like, I've never heard anything from him since then. It's been like 2 years now. And then I lost his number because of the iOS update. So back then I had an iPhone, and there was this like iOS update, and it like wiped my phone of like everyone's numbers. So I was having to like contact everyone on Facebook and like try to get their numbers, and my dad isn't on Facebook, so I couldn't get his number. And then when last year in the summer, I went to visit my auntie, who's his sister. So when I was 16, I found my auntie on Facebook, and I'd been talking to her for a while. And eventually, last summer, I finally got the courage to like meet her face to face. So when I went to holiday in London, if you've been going for me for the past couple of months, you'll see like all the videos and stuff that I posted of, oh God, it's cold, on Monday. Yeah, that was my trip to London, and I met my Mary, and then she posted a photo of me and her in our house standing together on Facebook, and my dad isn't on Facebook, but his wife now is, and she must have seen it, and suddenly I get this message from my dad, and I think to myself, I lost his number because of the iOS update, and my dad wanted to sell the house, but man, it was like, no, he's staying in, he's homeless, where's he meant to go? And then my dad and my uncle, the other uncle, his brother, forced my uncle out the house and then sold the house so that my dad and his wife could use the money for their wedding. And I have a cousin who's the same age as me. He is my dad's brother's son. I remember when I started getting back in contact with them when I was 16, I never went to the wedding. I never got invited. I know my dad's own wedding and I wasn't invited, but then that's just my dad. He's quite a selfish man. Imagine not even inviting your own daughter to your wedding. It's shocking. It's disgusting, actually. My dad never invited me to the wedding, and then I was talking to my cousin, and then he was basically rubbing it in that he was invited to the wedding, and he basically started calling me names and slagging me off, and then I got into an argument with him, and then he added me into a group chat with me and like 3 other of his friends, and the 3 of them started sending me like abuse and stuff, and but I bet them all, like I bet them all because I was able to better comebacks because I'm a feisty meisty. But then he went and told my mum that I was sending them abusive messages, and that me and my friends were sending him abusive messages, when actually it was the opposite. It was him and his friends. And my mum took his side, like what she always does, always takes the side of random strangers over our daughter unless someone else comes and says no, random strangers lying, Millie never did this. But that's just the fucking mind of a narcissist for you, honest to God. Taking random strangers' side to the side of your own daughter. That's just what she's like. So, I got shouted and screamed at by my mum. And when I went to see my Auntie Mary in London, I was talking to my auntie about it. And my auntie said that a similar experience happened to her. So basically, my cousin met this girl and he got her pregnant. This is still the cousin in the argument. And he was going to he was going to marry her, and my auntie was like, "Are you not a bit young to get married?" And then apparently he started sending her abusive messages as well. So she blocked him on Facebook. And then he was on the Jeremy Kyle show because the wife, she's now is a bit of a psycho, and she was saying that there's another word for it. I've already fixed it. She was saying that my cousin cheated on her and another, and it was a big thing, and they went on to the Jeremy Kyle show, which, if you don't know what the Jeremy Kyle show, it used to be a show on the TV. It's not on the TV anymore, because a guy that was on the show killed himself, and he basically blamed the show, so the show never got aired anymore. But it's basically a talk show. It was a bit like Jerry Springer, but a lot less fighting and none of that bells or people taking their clothes off or that. But I remember the show, it used to go around like all the council estates, and it used to they used to chap on people's door and ask people if they wanted to be on the Jeremy Kyle show. I remember they came up to me when I was like 12 and asked if I wanted to be in the show and if I had any family issues. I remember my mum came to the door and started screaming at them, saying, "What are you saying?" And my 13-year-old lassie, she's want to go into the Jeremy Kyle show, blah, blah, blah. And I remember she was standing arguing with a guy at the door, and that was so embarrassing. But yeah, that's he ended up like on the Jeremy Kyle show. So basically, him and my auntie, like my dad and my auntie, had fallen out because of all this stuff that was going on. So like my dad was like jealous, and like I could totally smell that when he sent me like the text. I thought, no, he's just trying to turn me against my auntie. So I didn't like respond to the message. But yeah, as I was saying, I was going on about Anubis. So Anubis is basically like the father that I never had because my biological father failed me and failed a daughter. And then I feel like fourth is like my cousin or something, like a cousin or a brotherly connection. So yeah, that's me talking about the deities I work with so much. Yeah, just maybe next week if I feel like it. God knows. No, I've gone a bit off whack with this live stream, but I really didn't feel like making like a proper video today. Like I just couldn't go through with it. With all the editing and stuff as well, it takes forever, and I just couldn't do it. It just wasn't in me today. Maybe next week with any luck, but my gran did die, and there's a lot of, it's like a mental battle right now, like a proper crazy mental battle. I don't know if any of you guys watching have ever lost someone. But it is awful. I've lost quite a few people now, and it just doesn't get any easier. Like, I lost my granddad and my Auntie Jean when I was just a teenager. And that was hard. I felt bad for my Auntie Jean because she didn't really have any much family support. Her family didn't really care about her. A bit like me. Family don't care about me. And maybe it's about time that I didn't care about them. I don't know. I know that sounds cold, but if you'd been physically and verbally abused for 23 years, maybe you'd be a bit cold when it came to family stuff. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do now. I'm going to wait till a wee while after my gran's funeral before I make any big decisions about anything. I did these two reports from uni, and the results actually came out ages ago, but I've been shitting myself. I don't really want to see the results. For one subject, the report was like really hard, and I'm like afraid to like check it in case I failed or something. I'm really not. God. When I went to my uni introduction yesterday, I was a bag of nerves. There's this one class, it's like a marketing class, and it was optional. And I chose it, and I think myself, why did I choose this subject? Did I make the wrong choice? Just because the way the wife was talking and that, and I'm like fucking treating myself, like it sounded like the tasks that we had to do like sounds really hard. I'm just thankful that it can be done in a group, because like the other group is like marketing finance students, so I think they'd maybe be able to help me. God. Life's just awful for me at the moment. Shit. I'm getting really hungry. Like really, really hungry. Oh God. Just the last couple of days has been like really tough. Like really, really tough. I'm not really sure what to do. I asked for his wisdom and guidance. I could kind of use it now. Christ. Yeah, for all you that don't know, a Wiccan. I seem to be like more like old ancient style Wicca, well pagan, and I work with the like mad ancient Egyptian deities, but there isn't really like a pagan community where I live. Well, there is, but they're more like the traditional Wicca guardian types that wear like the long skirts to like their ankles and stuff, and they're just really traditional, and they don't really vibe with me. Trying to find a pagan community that I belong in is very difficult. And like some of the pagans that I've spoken to in life haven't been very nice. It's like they were like to me, "We were born in it, why would you choose it?" And they're like, "Oh, you're just an amateur." I'm like, "Oh god, how am I not allowed to join?" Wouldn't be that if I was to join the church, they'd be all welcoming. Not that I'm going to join the church because, well, if you know your history, the church basically desecrated like all the pagans. Like my family are from like pagan ancestry, and a lot of them were murdered by the church just for being pagan, and they were forced to become Christians. Some of my family are like proper Christian, no. And I hated growing up in a Christian family. I just hated it. Like my mum is not very happy about me being pagan, and I have not told her about the pagan stuff that I do because she would not be happy about it. Yeah, it's hard. I want to create an altar for my deities, but I can't because it's just not safe for me to do so. I'm hoping that I'll move out soon when I finish uni, and then I'll be able to like create my own altars and stuff and be able to practice my religion freely without having to worry about Narcissa. Yeah, that's my nickname for my mum is Narcissa. But yeah, it was really hard just having this religion like forced on you and just feeling that you don't really belong in that community. When I was older and I got my calling, my witch calling, I finally kind of felt like a sense of like why Mum does some of the things that she does. Like sometimes, like I don't understand why she does like some of the things that she does. I don't think I ever will. My mum says to me, "One day when you're an adult, you'll understand." And that day came, and I still don't fucking understand. So there's like no logic in her behaviour at all. Not at all. Oh, my nose is running really badly. Oh my god. God, my nose was a bolt there. I need another drink. Really thirsty. My throat's really dry. It looks really nice outside, so I might I'm gonna like cut the live stream in a minute, because I'm gonna make myself something to eat and then I'm gonna go like outside, and I'm getting pretty hungry. Like, this is not, I normally have my lunch round about this time, so I'm gonna make myself something to eat in a minute because I'm absolutely starving, like really badly. I'm so hungry. Absolutely starving, like really hungry. But I hope you've all, well, not enjoyed, because it's not really something that's meant to be enjoyable. But I hope you've all like found this live stream like interesting. I know it talks about like a lot of like sad things and a lot of like personal like information that maybe I shouldn't be talking about on a live stream, but I'm do it. I'm just talking about it anyway, cause why not? So yeah. I'm gonna go